Let me take a wild guess and bet that you're here because you're thinking about getting a Yellowfin 100. You jumped onto YouTube, you went to the search bar, you typed in Vibe Yellowfin 100, and now you're here. So if you're here and you're hoping to get some more information about the features on this yak, don't worry, I got you covered. Let's take a closer look, I'll let you know what I think, and we'll go from there. So for those that have been to my channel before, chances are you remember the last time we were out here in the dry dock taking a closer look at my Pelican Mustang. We came to the conclusion with the Pelican that it was really geared more toward the recreational kayaker that wanted some features that lent itself to the fishing thing. I wanted something a little bit more fishing centric. In other words, that already had features built in, didn't have to do a lot of modifications. I just wanted to get something that I could get out on the water and make it happen. There's no particular reason why I went and sought out this boat. So there's no sponsorship here. I'm not endorsed by Vibe in any way, shape, or form. This is a boat that I bought because I found that it met my needs, it fit in the budget, and I'm trying to give an overall general impression about what you can expect if you decide to go this route as well when picking out your next kayak. Now, I don't plan to go into the full spec breakdown here. If you're really interested in all that information, of course, you can go to the manufacturer website and it'll tell you everything you need to know. But when you buy the package, everything you see here will come with the package. So in other words, the boat itself, the seat, and then the paddle. Taking a closer look at the seat itself, it's known as the Hero seat, and it's a fold-down stadium style seat that just drops right in there. It's held down by 3 straps. We've got one over here, one over there, and then we got one on the back. So it pops out just by taking all the straps out, and then she's gone. The package includes a 2-piece Journey model paddle. Not a whole lot to say about the paddle. It's not the lightest thing in the world, but I mean, it's definitely not too bad to get you started. So I'm not complaining, although at some point in the future I may upgrade. Taking a quick look at some of the features in front of the seat. Carry handles, one on the left, one on the right. Dry storage right here, and then an identical one up here at the top. Flush mount rod holder on the left as well as the right. We got some footrests. These are movable. You can adjust these, so if you're a shorter person, you definitely got it covered here. You can move them up, or if you're a lot taller, you move them all the way back. So both of those can be adjusted pretty quickly. We've also got rail mounts for your accessories. We're going to come back to these in a little bit because I do have to add in a specific note about them, but they come stock. Here in the middle, in the spot that comes from the factory, is set up to accept one of their branded, as you can tell, it's a Vibe branded accessory plate. Also, I got something to say about that here shortly, so that way everybody kind of knows what they're getting themselves into if they decide to go that route. But I do like the cup holders type of situation we got here, and then just a general accessory pocket so you can throw, hooks, line clippers, anything that, of course, fits in there goes right there. And taking a look at what's going on behind the seat, we've got 2 flush mount rod holders right here by the tank well. And then you've got a series of rings that you can stretch the bungee through and set it up the way that you need it. A carry handle in the back as well. And then if you need to drain it out for whatever reason, the drain plug is right back here. You probably already saw it earlier with the paddle, but we've got bungee based paddle spots right here. It's cut into the plastic. That way you can hold that paddle close when you're transporting it, or if you need to set it off to the side while you're taking care of business up in the front. So let's talk about this accessory rail. So these come pretty stock on a lot of models that Vibe and other brands offer. Most commonly, you'll use these accessory tracks to mount things such as cameras, rod holders, stuff like that. So you're probably familiar with several types of brands of accessory makers that use these T-bolt style things. Now, that's a problem because if you're using the T-bolt style, you need to have enough of an angle to be able to slide that bolt into the track before you start to tighten it down. So what I had to do was get a rotary tool and a metal file, and I had to create a little bit of an angled cut. You can probably see it there in the light. But without that cut onto the rail itself, I could not slide the T-bolt style accessories onto the rail. There's not enough of an angle, and I've seen on other brands of kayaks, this part right here would have like a cut or a dip in it. That way you'd have the ability to slide in the T-bolt without smacking up straight against the plastic itself. So frustratingly enough, the way things come, you're not going to be able to quickly slide things on and off. You're going to have to modify the rail in some way, shape, or form. For whatever reason, I'm not sure why this wasn't caught at the factory, but just something to keep in mind before you move forward with buying a bunch of accessories. You're probably going to need to file down a little bit of the rail as is, that way you can get your stuff on. This accessory mount plate wasn't something that came with the package itself. I had to buy this separately on the Rainforest website, that way I can add it onto the boat, although it does come with the receiving bolts molded into the plastic, so you don't have to do any drilling to get this on there. The problem is it did not fit squarely into the cutout that was molded into the plastic itself when the boat was formed. You might be able to see here, I had to sand this down in order to get it to fit smoothly into the cavity. So it's sold as an accessory, it's made by the same company, but it does not fit, or at least it didn't fit this one. I don't know if different models have different setups to where it might fit flush on some, or others you have to go ahead and sand it down like I did. Not quite sure, just keep it in mind because the reviews on the product itself, some folks are saying it fits just fine, others are saying it requires modification. So I can speak from my experience and say I definitely had to sand this down before it would fit appropriately. Also want to mention this in terms of the dry storage we have. It's either screw on and screw off style lids. So there's some type of fabric cord that comes from the factory that ties on into the bag itself that's inside of the storage container and then also goes up to the lid. It's tied on right there. But it's not very strong. It didn't take too long before it came undone. The one up here at the front is still on both the bag itself as well as the lid, but I'm probably going to replace it with something a little bit more stronger because I just really don't want to be out on the water, open this up and have the lid come flying off. The liner bags are identical. They're also removable between both the front and the center storage here, so if you need to pop it right out, you can put stuff down there in the hole. Not sure what you want to put down there, something that you probably don't need while you're out on the water. But if you need to carry extra stuff with you, towels, clothes, or whatever, you can drop that down there, replace the bag, and then cinch it back down with the lid. Another thing that I think is pretty neat with Vibe specifically, they include a little chunk of the molded plastic that was used when they created the actual vessel that you're getting. So in other words, if you get to the point where you got to repair some scratches, instead of having to source your own plastic, you can use some of what they provide to mend it using some type of heat source. Plastic welding or anything along those lines. You can use the same plastic that they use at the factory because they give you a nice little half donut that you can use for that purpose. Now, some of those little minor things aside, I can definitely conclude I feel as though I got what I paid for. I'm happy with it. Now, I'm not endorsed by Vibe in any way, shape, or form. They didn't ask me to do this. They're not asking me to say anything about this that I don't feel to be my actual opinion. But I can say with confidence, I really like this boat. I think it meets my needs. It probably exceeds them in some cases. Yes, there are some little finicky things that you have to deal with, but you can still customize it to whatever extent that you feel is appropriate for your needs. And I would say, generally speaking, from the factory itself, you've got a solid platform that probably doesn't need many modifications other than a couple things that I've mentioned today. So let me know if I didn't go into detail about something that you have a question about. Shoot me a message, put a comment, whatever you need to do, let me know, reach out, I'll respond. If I don't have specific information I can share, I'll just be honest and tell you what I do and don't know. Or if you also own one of these and want to provide some insight into something that I may not have mentioned in this clip, also feel free to do that.